Good evening, everyone. Vast stretches of a pristine Canadian paradise are smoldering ruin tonight. A wall of flames as high as 100 meters swallowing homes, buildings, and memories in Jasper, where Alberta government officials say up to half of the town's structures may have been destroyed. And despite some rain and cooler temperatures today, the fire is still considered out of control. Hundreds of international firefighters are on their way to battle the wildfires. We will have more on that in just a moment, but we begin in Jasper.
It's haunting. Homes and local landmarks in one of Canada's most treasured and beautiful national parks burned to the ground. One of those houses belonged to the LeBlanc family.
Our home burned to the ground. Our whole side of town, which is the west side of town, most of it is gone.
The premier summed up the heartbreak of an entire province.
And to those in Alberta and around the world who have experienced the magic of Jasper, the magic is not lost and it never will be.
Danielle Smith grew emotional after providing a grim estimate of the scope of destruction in the town of Jasper. 30 to 50% of structures burned. The fire south of town began consuming buildings Wednesday night, the day before flames had still been 12 kilometers away. Officials say its quick spread was fueled by high winds, which whipped it into an inferno, a 100-meter-high wall of flames that traveled 5 kilometers in half an hour. Firefighters on the ground could do nothing to stop it, and it was too dangerous for water bombers to fly.
Any firefighter will tell you there's little to nothing you can do when you have a wall of flames coming in like that.
Close to 25,000 people were ordered to get out of the national park on Monday. Tourists, seasonal staff, and the people who call this town of just under 5,000 home.
Lots of tears and just shock and disbelief and sadness.
Well-known businesses have also been lost, including the Moline Lodge, run by the same family since the 1960s. Jasper's mayor is calling the destruction his worst nightmare. The premier is promising to rebuild.
About an hour northeast of Jasper, when there are no road closures, is the town of Hinton, where some first responders were forced to relocate. CTV's Kathy Lee is there.
A lightning strike, and about 48 hours later, the worst nightmare. Communities close to Jasper, like Hinton, are helping.
Chaotic and, of course, like traumatizing for sure. And yeah, just thinking about our lives.
This woman works at Jasper Park Lodge, now hoping to receive financial assistance.
We're also grateful for the Alberta, or for the government itself, for helping all the people who needs help.
The massive wildfire has people in town concerned.
It was really scary last night. It was raining ash and everything was glowing orange. It was really scary.
Absolutely. You know, I think it's something that's in the mind of many people all the time here. We had the Edson fires last year and then Jasper this year, and it seems to be a growing concern all the time.
The town's mayor reassuring the community.
There is no risk to the town of Hinton. There's no fire activity in the Hinton area right now.
176 active wildfires are burning across the province. 54 are out of control.
We're expecting more of those winds in the province today, which will raise the fire danger for those areas particularly that didn't get much rain.
Resources from around the world are being brought in, including help from a local firefighter.
It means a lot to being able to participate in any of these events, because my brother lost his home a few years ago, and I know the real pain and hardship that happens when someone loses a home.
Several other evacuation orders remain in place in the province, including some in northern communities.
Eligible individuals, including temporary foreign workers who are part of a mandatory evacuation order, could qualify for a one-time emergency evacuation payment.
Wildfires are burning in Alberta. 54 are out of control. One of the blazes, likely caused by lightning strikes, is consuming the town of Jasper. Officials say it couldn't be stopped.
It doesn't matter what the preparation is. When you're talking a 100-meter firewall and you're talking a fire that's moving, 5 kilometers in a matter of 30 minutes.
Because Jasper is both a national park and a municipality, Parks Canada is working with the town in centralized command to direct resources to where they're needed.
Jasper, we will continue to stand by you.
1,900 firefighters are currently in Alberta battling the blazes on the ground and from the air. In a tweet, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said the federal government is helping and mobilizing every necessary resource available. The Department of National Defense is sending logistic support and planes to help transport evacuees and equipment. It has not been asked to send troops yet, but that could change.
What we try to do is making sure that the right resources is going to the right place.
Help is also coming from other provinces. Ontario has sent 300 Rangers to Western Canada. It's also sending equipment.
We have sent 4 helicopters, 1 Bird Dog aircraft that goes along with the 2 CL-415 water bombers, the associated staff, including pilots and aircraft maintenance engineers.
400 international firefighters are on their way. Crews from Australia are already on the ground in Alberta. More help from South Africa, Mexico, and New Zealand will be here by the weekend.
Further east, the story is twisters. Multiple tornadoes touching down in and around Quebec and Ontario last night. 3 separate tornadoes hit Quebec yesterday, including near Montreal, causing serious damage. Meanwhile, at least 1 tornado tore through Ontario last night, hitting south of Perth, about 3.5 hours east of Toronto.
We dashed inside. I said, this is not good. And we no sooner shut the door and we could see the water and the trees. The trees were uplifting.
A major cleanup is underway. No serious injuries have been reported. The man who allegedly started the largest fire in California this year has been arrested. Thousands were forced to flee Northern California overnight after a man allegedly pushed a flaming car into a gully. The fire exploded in size from about 2,600 hectares late yesterday to 48,000 this evening. We turn now to late-breaking developments in Canada's soccer drone scandal. Late tonight, the Canadian Olympic Committee revealed it has removed the Canadian women's national team head coach, Bev Priestman, from the Canadian Olympic team. The news coming just a day after 2 Canadian soccer staffers were sent home from the Olympics after allegations a drone was used to spy on New Zealand's women's team during practice. Canada's soccer CEO also releasing a statement late tonight saying the decision to suspend the head coach was because over the past 24 hours, additional information has come to our attention regarding previous drone use against opponents predating the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Tonight, we're looking into how criminal companies are setting up shop here in Canada to launch elaborate pyramid schemes overseas. In part 2 of a joint investigation between the Investigative Journalism Foundation and CTV News. CTV's Adrian Gabriel reports.
It looks much like any other office building in Markham, Ontario, but in one shared space, our investigation reveals it's the location used for 97 money service companies. And there's little evidence any of them ever did business here or that they were even actual tenants.
My name's Adrian Gabriel. I'm with CTV National News.
Inside, a manager whose identity we're protecting alleges that there's a list of criminal companies who've listed this unit as their registered business address.
Fraudulent people know that business centers are easy prey because they can use that address and it's a legitimate registered business address, but they're not paying to use it. But we can't keep track of the people that are using it.
One company using the address, Metaverse Foreign Exchange, also known as MTFE. It had the veneer of a legitimate online trading platform. It was even registered with Canada's money laundering watchdog FinTrack. Multiple MTFE transactions went through Binance, a global cryptocurrency exchange company. In a statement to CTV News, Binance writes that during the initial phase of MTFE, the app managed to gain a rating of 4.1 out of 5 on the Google Play Store with over 24,000 reviews, and that the MTFE application was even made available on the Apple App Store. In August of 2023, the Canadian company's platform went offline, leaving hundreds of thousands of investors in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh in the dark. An estimate of more than $2 billion vanished.
Israel said today it has recovered the bodies of 5 hostages killed in the October 7th Hamas attack. In Washington, at a face-to-face meeting, President Joe Biden pushed the Israeli Prime Minister today to agree to a ceasefire in Gaza. The Vice President, now in the race for America's top political post, also met with Benjamin Netanyahu today. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbin on what they discussed.
The Democrats' de facto leader, Kamala Harris, taking command.
Welcome, Mr. Prime Minister, and I look forward to our conversation. We have lots to talk about.
Her husband and stepchildren are Jewish, but Harris has taken a tougher stand with Israel in the past, warning its prime minister the suffering in Gaza is unacceptable.
Israel has a right to defend itself, and how it does so matters.
Meeting earlier with President Joe Biden.
Well, welcome back, Mr. Prime Minister.
The president pressing Benjamin Netanyahu to accept a peace deal, a top priority for Biden in his remaining months in office, and one that could define his legacy.
I want to thank you for 50 years of public service and 50 years of support.
Their relationship, not an easy one. Biden publicly threatened to hold back weapons shipments to Israel, pushing Netanyahu to close the gaps in a peace deal.
With some compromise and some leadership on both sides here, we believe that we can get this over the finish line.
Netanyahu's congressional visit to Washington has sparked protests again today, calling him a war criminal and angry at the Biden administration's support for Israel. Both leaders met with American hostage families, desperate for a deal.
We got absolute commitment from the Biden administration and from Prime Minister Netanyahu that they understand the urgency the moment they come home, these 115, the killing ends, the madness.
The largest grocery chain is apologizing tonight after agreeing to what the plaintiff's lawyers are calling the largest antitrust settlement in Canadian history. CTV's Michael Couture reports.
The parent company of the largest grocery chain in Canada has agreed to pay out $500 million for its involvement in an alleged bread price-fixing scheme that lasted 14 years.
Yeah, if they're saying that they messed up, then good.
It's the consumers that have been paying for it, so they should be the one to be reimbursed.
Nearly $100 million has already been paid out by the grocer back in 2018 when it sent out $25 gift cards to compensate consumers. It's unclear if they'll follow that model. In a statement, Galen Weston, the chairman of Loblaw and George Weston Limited, said this behavior should have never happened, adding, "We are sorry for the price-fixing behavior we discovered and self-reported in 2015. The following year, Weston Foods and Loblaw received immunity from prosecution in exchange for cooperating with the investigation. The lawyer leading the class action lawsuit says today's admission will help them go after other companies like Sobeys, Walmart, Metro, and others.
The moment a company like Weston, they're doing the right thing now, comes forward, they're going to be able to say, on this date we met with this person and this person, these are the emails you want to look for.
Last summer, Canada Bread was fined $50 million after pleading guilty to 4 counts of price fixing under the Competition Act.
That's like if someone steals $50 from you and you only get back 5 cents.
It's why some believe the Competition Bureau needs to do more.
Prince Harry made some candid revelations in a documentary that aired today. The Duke of Sussex says his decision to fight the tabloid press in court is a major reason for the rift with the rest of the royal family.
They've made it very clear that this is something that needs to be done. It would be nice if we did it as a family. I believe that, again, from a service standpoint and when you're in a public role, that these are the things that we should be doing. For the greater good, but I'm doing this for my reasons.
In December, a judge ruled that Mirror Group newspapers had gathered information about the prince unlawfully and awarded him hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages. We are hearing tonight from a woman who came dangerously close to a grizzly bear and is sharing the incredible story of how she survived. Here's CTV's Sarah Plowman.
It was along this trail where Vanessa Chaput and her dog Luna faced 3 grizzly bears.
I was right beside them, and it was too close.
She tried to give them space. Luna got off leash. As the dog chased away 2 bears, the other attacked her.
When the bear had taken me down with my head in its mouth, my first thought was just kind of protect your vitals. So I went straight into the fetal position.
The bear released her. She hid behind a tree. It charged again. Luna distracted it.
If it wasn't for my dog barking, the bear was going to come finish the job.
Chaput headed to the highway, called her husband in 911, bloodied and injured.
So I have puncture wounds all up in my arm. I have a broken bone. I have a lot of nerve damage in that area. And then my tricep was torn into places.
The nearby campground was evacuated. 3 bears euthanized by conservation officers.
My saving grace is from Walmart.
A plastic hair clip like this atop her head that she says snapped in the bear's mouth. That's when the bear let her go. Chaput believes it was stunned.
It just shattered in the bear's mouth.
She spent weeks in hospital, but holds no hard feelings.
I don't blame the bears for what happened. I don't blame my dog or myself. It was wrong place, wrong time, and